Belvedere, and that was just under 7,000 acres, but as I say, I bought this block off Farquhar, I bought Ozzie Smith, I bought Tom Horn, I bought Donahue, bought my mother's block, I bought Madson's, and I bought Jack Router's and Vince Router, and sold them all as one property. Then I bought, after I sold them, I bought Bartlett's over the river, Vinnie Hartwick's over the river. Then all this country between here and Idlewold, all that country and this country. Now, as I say, I think I bought 12 or 13 blocks of country. And the fact is, RNs work just as hard, often bloody harder, than I have. But, well, that's just the story. And, but we started from nothing. Very often, I remember R.M. Williams coming to my place some years ago at Belvedere. Jesus, a nice property, Charlie. He said, your father must have worked hard to get this. They all think I had it bloody well left to me. But no such thing. It's just, well, whether it's hard work or good luck.
Was it scrub country or forest country?
Huh?
Was it scrub country or forest country? Scrub or forest country?
Well, well over half a scrub country. Oh yeah, my bloody oath, I know, oh, well over half it would be softwood scrub country.
And who cleared it?
Axe. I don't know that I had any. I've had a bit on this country since I bought this country with bulldozers. No, bloody axe.
And who was on the handle of the axe?
Oh, well, whoever you could get. Oh, yes, well, of course, there was good axemen about one time. Jack Turnbull would have been one of the best. He could fall brigalow scrub and all that. Do an acre a day. So, you know, yes, but the Becks were, there were some good axemen about here, don't worry about that.
Did the Becks have a bullock team, or did they snig timber?
Eh?
Did the Becks have a bullock team or a horse team to snig timber?
No. The Banners, Jack Banner and Johnny Banner, that's that girl that came, a woman that came, Mrs. O'Shea. Yeah, her father and her grandfather both had horse teams. Irene remembers them well when she was 9 or 10 pulling timber off her father's place down the river here. And Johnny Banner was married to a cousin of mine.
They used to have a mail run too, didn't they, the Banners, to going through to from...
Oh, hell, yes.
Tell me about that.
Eh?
Tell me about that.
Oh, well, I can't. It's too bloody old now for me. You know what I mean? The Banners, they'd be some of the old identities of the Upper Burnett, you know.
What about the Seenies?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, old identities.
Mm.
Yes. Mrs. Seeney was a Banner, wasn't she? Yes. Oh, the Banners, I mean, my father and mother, they were all back in all of the one mob those days. But then I was only 7 when I left here, and by the time I came back here, 10 years later, well, everything had changed.
Yes,
everything had changed.
You were just saying, Charlie, that people by the name of Falconer owned this block.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for it?
How much did I? I didn't buy it off them.
Right.
Now let me tell you this. I was out Springshore. I was out buying cattle at Springshore, that's right. Most of the time I'm out buying horses. I was out buying cattle, and through McTaggart's Or was it? However, their agent out there was Alan Walker. Now, Alan Walker drove me about back to roads and different places buying cattle.
Did you in the middle?
And he wanted to buy a farm. He, not long back from the war, with a little bit of money that he only had a certain little bit to pay down. And how about farms down here? So, well, there's a few for sale. And when I came back, I just knew how much he had and all that. And I got the offer of this place for him. He eventually bought it. He wasn't long married then, when there. His wife, I knew her people very well in Rockhampton. I didn't know her like that. I knew her father very well. However, he put in 5 or 6 years here, and then after we sold Belvedere to the subnormal.
Belmore?
No, after we sold Belmore to the subnormal, we sold Belvedere to Joyce and Joyce. Sold Belmore. Belvedere, then I bought that over there. I sold Belvedere and bought more, and that's named Belmore. That's how Peter Webster's over there now.
Yes.
That's how it gets Belmore. After I sold it to the subnormal, I bought it back again. You get me?
Yes, yes.
Anybody that I sold $1,000 worth of tickets there, and if someone said, "Oh, bugger, I'm not going to buy it. What do I want to do with a farm?" Well, I'll give you 50 or 60,000, whatever it was, for your ticket. Well, my Jesus, yes, let's buy it. However, I was offering somewhere 10,000 less than they'd pay me. And a man in Melbourne won it. He was a jeweller, an aged man, a jeweller in Melbourne. He had half a dozen shops in Melbourne. However, I bought it back off of him. Well, then later on, Alan Walker sold this to Robin Hart. Robin Hart put Kerwee down there,
Yes.
you see? And Robin Hart was here, and he sold it to the subnormal. And a fellow in Sydney working in a chemist shop won it. But he bought a book of tickets which entitled him to a new motor car. And he came to Brisbane to pick up the motor car and thought he could get the money or the property. And he didn't want the property at any bloody price. He wanted the motor car and the money. And they told him, well, no, the motor car's there and the property's there, but you can sell the property. And of course, that was good for them, so it was put on the market. But they couldn't sell it. They couldn't sell it. They eventually leased it for 12 months, I think, to Tom Bancroft. And eventually I made him an offer for it. The right offer as far as I was concerned.
This is Cotswold.
And they accepted it.
This is Cotswold.
Yeah, this is Cotswold.
Yeah. And mind you, I spent a lot of money on it.
Mm.
All the scrubs are down, all under roads right. And
Where's Cotswold?
It's here.
This is Cotswold.
This is Cotswold here.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
it is 1,430 acres. 630 on this side of the road, 800 acres on the other side of the road. All freehold. The bottom end has a bore and a windmill and troughs and so forth. The bottom end's got that big dam. Very good block. Well, I've been trying to sell Cotswold, but, well, you know, the last couple of years of money. So, Irene particularly wants to go to the bay, and I've been saying, well, if I can't sell all of it, I'll sell half of it. But it's got to be the half with the house and the shed and all that on. I have had offers over the years for different blocks, but I wouldn't sell them till I sold the house block. So, when some fellows come to me, well, if they can get the money and all this and that, and I've been just saying lately, well, buy the house block. And I'll tell you what I'll do, put it all on paper. I'll hold that block for 18 months and give you the offer of it. You can buy it next week, next month, any time between now and 18 months' time. It'll save you paying interest on that extra money. Rates, and there's no rent, it's freehold, good. And, well, that's the story. These fellows have taken it on.
Who is that? Who is that?
Well, people here about 3 years ago driving along the road, this place over the river where all the Spencers, George Spencer selected that back in 1924, but Spencer have owned it until the last 8 or 9 years. Then David Fates bought it. And he bought 2 or 3 places, and he went pretty bloody bad, and had a notice up for sale, and somebody going from Cairns saw it and bought it. Now they're going to grow grain. Naturally, if they come from up north, they're supposed to be farmers, they're going to grow grain. You had a guess, or you'd say they're cane farmers. Right, we got, and everybody else got the shock of their bloody lives to find they were prawn fishermen going to make their fortune off ground grain. You follow? Prawn fishermen. Well, they put a crop in and used all the irrigation money and all the irrigation. Of course, they were unlucky with bloody drought and high prices and no crop. They walked back up north, back onto the prawns. They had 2 prawning boats, trawlers, what they call them. And they came back here lately and inspected this place. And they're buying it with the right to 18 months to buy the other. I've still got another 1,000 acres over there to sell, but I won't until I get off this place.
Tell me now, you were in the light horse.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
There's nothing much that I can tell you. Nothing much that I can tell you.
Did you go down with the Monto group?
To Gympie?
Yes.
Yes, I was there about 6 months.
Right.
In Gympie, yes.
And why did you leave it?
Well, they got me out of it to buy bloody horses for the American Army.
Oh, tell me about that.
No, there's nothing I can tell you.
But they took you out to buy horses?
They didn't take me out.
Right, tell me.
They offered me the job.
Well, we owned the property and Belvedere, and the kids and I were back there, of course. So, I don't know, I can't just remember what happened, but we had land, you know.
So
Couldn't leave it forever.
So you came out of a light horse?
And went on buying other horses.
Buying horses for the American market?
Yeah, no. American Army,
Here in Australia.
they all went to New Guinea.
Right. Mm.
The first 500 were pack horses, the other 5 horses were riding horses. And they went to New Guinea.
Did they? Yes.
Yes, well that's... Now,
Now,
back in the early days, you'd have heard of Joe Atkinson, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Joe Atkinson is a gander fellow, and right back in the 20s, he won the Australian buck jumping champion. Terrific buck jump rider. He joined Skewthorpe's buck jumping show, and he was champion of Australia. Well, he ended up in the light horse in the war years. These horses that I used to truck up from here, he used to take delivery of them at Townsville somewhere. Yeah.
did he?
Yeah, yes, Joe Atkinson.
Tell me about your family now. You married and had how many children?
Well, we've got 2 daughters, 1 son. Now, one is Mrs. Neil Caton, other Mrs. Brian Carroll. Joyce, or the Catons, have got 3 daughters. One of them works in the Commonwealth. They're all married. She's head woman in the Commonwealth Bank at Harvey Bay, Linda. And I'll tell you who she is. Well, no, you've got a motto. What's that name, Irene?
Brick house. Brick house. Brick house.
Brick house?
Brick house. She's married to a cousin of that brick house. She's a Mrs. Linda Brighouse. She's head woman in the bank at the Commonwealth Bank. Now, the other one, Jill, she's a computer expert in Brisbane. She's right up in the tops of the computer business. The younger one, Anne, she's working for the council at Port Augusta, South Australia. Her husband's in the army.
Right.
That's the 3. Now Tom, he cut his bridle teeth around Darwin buffalo shooting and all that. He came down here one time, a lot of years ago, and someone said to him, Tom, I see, you want a job, I see him advertising Robertson's Sports Store in Queen Street, Brisbane, is looking for a man or something. But however, they brought the paper over to him, and it was a fortnight old. So he rang them up about it. It only gave a phone number, didn't give who they were, but we guessed who they were to find out. They had 14 applications in for this job. This bloke had a university course certificate, other bloke had a high school certificate, they had the best. What school? Tom went to one teacher school, but he ended up getting the job because, well, he got the job. And every Saturday morning he was on the air for this firm. When Robertson died, the firm went out of business, and the head bookkeeper and Tom opened up their own business, bought the, what they call them, sort of business, and he's got a firearms business. He realises the last couple of years he's in the wrong business with revolvers. Sharp, long, sharp knives is the bestseller today, isn't it? Yeah. But however, he's in that. He travels right down to, he went down to Adelaide not long ago, all these different gun shops, that he's the Australian agent for them and all that. And he goes right up to Cairns sometime and all that. Well, he had two sons. The oldest fellow was 18 years and 4 months when he got killed on a semi-trailer, but takes it very hard. The other fellow now, he's about 20, he's 3 or 4 years younger, he's about 22 or 3. Has finished his apprenticeship. I've got to think of what it is. Fitter and Turner. Fitter and Turner.
Tell me now, just talking about the light horse.
Yeah.
Were you in Gympie when the stampede was on?
No.
No, you weren't there then. That was pretty tragic, wasn't it?
Yes. No, I wasn't there.
Wasn't there then. What do you think started that off?
No, I did know what they... No. I sort of knew something about that too, but...
Can't remember.
No, I just can't.
Can't remember that. Come on now, tell me, where did your children go to school?
Serenity
Did they?
State School.
State school.
One teacher.
And what about high school?
Well, no, it's on 6-foot blocks, that's all I can do.
Yeah, but when did you go, did they go to high school?
No.
They didn't go on?
No.
And,
Now, as far as school is concerned, don't matter whether they're the Lord Mayor's son or the Navy's son or the sanitary man's son or daughter. Makes no bloody difference. Now, you school your kid up to, say, 14, go to the headmaster when he's about ready to leave school and take notice what he tells you. Jackie, you'll make a good hard worker and so, and perhaps one in the family, send him to high school. Don't matter whether he's a sanitary man's daughter or son or what, or the Lord Bloody Mayor's son. It makes no difference. That's my way of thinking. If it's in them, it'll come out of them. But just take notice, as I always say, all the bloody horses you breed. Some people say, oh, send them down to Tommy Smith and Bart Cummings, eh? No, find out the good one and send her somewhere. Now, there's only odd ones, no matter whether they're your family, my family, any other bugger's family.
now, talking about racehorses, you were into racehorses, weren't you?
I raced on, this is only a rough count, it could be more. I raced on 44 race courses, and I know that I won on 39, and I rode in one of the biggest race courses in the world.
Where's that?
Calcutta.
You rode a horse there?
I bloody oath, I killed 2 horses in the 1 week.
What do you mean you killed 2?
Well, they had to destroy them. In the suburban steeplechase, there's the runner-up to the Grand National. I rode an Australian bred horse called Bandolero. I had all the instructions of what to do. 1 mile and 3/4. I was to go to the lead to a certain place, take hold of him there. They told me just what to do. And I did as I was told. Now, the open ditch is the big one. There's a brush fence about that high. I think it's 10 feet of water, and then the big jump. He never touched a hoof.
Come on.
He never touched anything, but when he landed, he overshot and broke his hind leg. I can still see as if it was only yesterday, as I hit the ground, a grey horse went over the top of me. He never touched me, mind you. I can still see him. That was in the suburban steeplechase, the runner-up to the Grand National. A fortnight after, I'm not sure whether it was a week or a fortnight afterwards, an English horse called Heatwave broke his shoulder right in front of the grandstand in a hurdle race, and they had to shoot him. So I killed 2 horses in the 1 week. So, well, that's racing. And as I say, as far as I can count up 44 races that I've raced on, and I can count up, but I can't count up the number of horses.
Tell me some of your favourite horses.
Oh, well, I suppose.
Beryl, something flashing on you now.
The first time I raced in Brisbane, I won a double.
Yeah, keep talking.
I won a double in Brisbane, my first start. With a...
What's its name?
There, at the creek.
Charlie, Cave Girl and Black Eyes. Cave Girl and Black Eyes.
Those 2 horses, you take them up here to Wingwood Albion Park, or were they down?
No, they were trained down there.
They were trained down there?
Yes.
Brian Alvizio?
Yes.
By Brian Alvizio.
Toots Alvizio.
Right.
Irene, where's he?
And you won 2 races. What 2 races? Go on, sis.
Look, I can't tell you now.
You come over here and I'll sit on there.
I just can't.
And what did that fellow say when you won the 2 races?
Oh, well, he mightn't have said it to me, but he said it to the trainer, I think. He said, I've been racing here for 11 years and haven't won a race, and here's a bastard from the bush wins 2 the first day. But I never keep books. I don't keep books. I keep bloody race books, but I
never write anything down.
About picture book now, to tell her about picture book.
Oh, well, picture book. I bred her here. First of all, years ago I bought a black mare of Athelstrong called Enlargement. I won a score of races with her, and possibly the best of her progeny would be a granddaughter, Picture Book. I won 17 races with her. But I've also got a story of another horse which does take a bit of beating, that won 13 races straight. Gambler's Gold. He won 13 races straight, including the Bundaberg Newmarket. But that's going back a few years. But I bred him on the place, and I get more kick out of racing those that I've bred. I just got to think of some of the buggers now.
Do you remember Jorgensen with his Tornell? Do you remember Jorgensen with his Tornell?
Of course I do.
Tell me about it.
I know, oh yes, yeah. Winning the Yeppoon Cup might have been, but she won a lot of other stuff too.
That's Picture Book.
Picture Book, yes, yes. And I bred her, and bred her mother, and bred her father, and everything else, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I was just telling Charlie, we saw her out at Judy Hamilton's.
Oh, you've seen us at...
Yeah, we've got her on video, where Judy was riding her out there.
Yeah.
I remember Judy. She's an adopted girl. When I knew she was about 15 or 16, I bought cattle off her parents, the son of Krakow. That's how long I've known Judy. And of course, what's his name? His father, I knew him very, very well on Hainault before ever I went to India. I remember when I went to Hainault one time and bought all the Hainault horses. And when they couldn't get over the nice pair of Jodhpurs, County khaki Jodhpurs. Jesus, they'd go any of the pair of Jodhpurs like that. So, I don't know whether I took their measurements, but I brought back 4 pair of Jodhpurs, tailor-made in Calcutta for them. I remember to get them through custom, you put them on, pull them on, put them off, and dump them in your dirty clothes bag. And the customs man, they were your working clothes. Then I took them up, and they were thrilled about them. That was Victor Hamilton and his brother on Hainault. That was long before they were ever married. A1P, Hainault, I remember them really well. And Helmer's Barfield, I bought all their horses one time, somewhere about 100 horses. Then I bought all old Jim Sinclair's draft horses. Then I bought all old Ernie Zillman's draft horses. But bloody mobs of them. But when I bought the 1,000 horses for the American Army, that was some travelling. You couldn't get help.
No.
War on.
And how did you get on if you couldn't get help? How did you get on if you couldn't get help?
Well, you got help from older fellows that couldn't go to the war. Well, I mean, I had to do most of it my bloody self.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
And of course, Irene had to help me a bloody lot too.
Did you, Irene?
I used to even ride his quite racehorses work. I was always terrified of horses, but you know, I'd only ride the quite ones. Many years ago.
You name it, it's there. All me horse gear, but who wants horse gear today? Bloody motorbikes. I mean, very good saddle and all this and that. I tell you what, I got a very good, nearly a new compressor there, you know, a pumping motor car that hardly ever been used, and a lot of tools, but big lot of tools for water pipes. But they use plastic now, and all that other stuff.
And what are you going to do with all this, Charlie?
Well, I was try and sell it or give it away or something.
Right.
There's a very good fridge there. You see,
There's a
really good
big
fridge.
washing machine, one of the big
And all stacks of stuff. But we put a sale on with. And there's clearing sales everywhere, I suppose.
Yes.
However,
And if it doesn't sell,
We
God
bought
knows what
it.
we'll do with it.
the house we bought in Harvey Bay is nearly a new brick house. Not a big one, but a nice, neat little place. And in Scarness, not on the water, not way back, up on the top. No good what you call them. But however, I will find something to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Charlie, and this is your retirement you're talking about. This is your retirement.
Because I've been always against retiring of anybody retiring.
Well, I can
Now,
never
you saw
retire.
that woman last night, 103. Same idea as me. This retiring. She never retired, and she's still working for charity.
She can hardly
103.
walk. I don't know what she's doing. Must have a good headpiece and be able to write, because she can
No,
hardly
this
walk.
retiring. Oh,
Right, it's the worst thing you can do.
isn't it bloody marvellous the young fellows now, anywhere from 20, more bloody, eh? No exercise,
No, it's fine.
and sweat, oh Jesus, I wouldn't sweat. And that's the healthiest bloody thing of the lot.
Of course it is.
Yeah, but they won't. They wouldn't know, oh Christ, can't sweat. And they won't walk. Bloody motor cars.
No, motor cars, yeah.
Yeah, they've got to go to the bloody toilet and stay 100 yard, 50 yard down there, back the car out. Oh no, they won't. Walking? Yeah.
Charlie, they didn't come up in the hard times.
Eh?
They didn't learn anything about the hard times.
No, they won't be bloody well told neither.
No, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
No,
Um,
they won't walk.
Well, anyone in our generation
right,
cannot
that's
right.
tell anybody anything.
no, the older generation, I think, were better off, Charlie, weren't they?
Oh, of course. I'm bloody sure they.
Because they had a healthier life
Of course.
and they didn't have the temptations of today,
Oh no.
and they had to work from the time they could walk.
That's it.
They learned to take responsibility before they went to school.
Yes.
Well, as I say, I started when I was 10 and a half, but I don't ever, but once they get 12 or 14, let them do something. My bloody oath.
Yes. Because you were working before that.
Eh?
You were working before you went, when you were all the time at school. You still had your chores to do.
Oh, well, of course.
Milk cows when he
Right,
came home, and milk cows before
I
he
could
got
have
up.
had 2 years, 2.5 years at school.
Yes.
And at one of those places I had to walk 1.5 miles to school, but that was more good than harm.
Yes.
Might have knocked a few toenails off.
No, Charlie, I'd like to thank you extremely.
Oh, well, that's okay. You know where we live now.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Anything you want.
I've only just learned, well, I knew where you lived, but to come here and see you today and listen to your story, and in particular about the horses going to India,
Oh,
was
yeah.
really interesting because I've not heard anything about that before. And stay there. Wish you well in your retirement at Harvey Bay, and help you find all the happiness that you deserve in your new settlement.
Thank you very, very much.
And thank you very much for you and your wife for helping us today.
Okay, the pleasure's mine too.
I'm sorry I fell down on my part, Vera, but
No.
surely I wouldn't have been.
You've got yet to come into this. You've just got to realise that your story is just as important because it was a different story. In your younger life, your story was harder. You understand your parents had a harder life.
I was the eldest girl of a family of 9.
Yes.
And I would say that I did just as much to rearing my last couple of sisters and brothers as my mother did. And looking after the house, well, Mum loved gardening, Mum hated housework. So Mum grew all the vegetables and I had to take on the housework at an early age. I only had about 2.5 years schooling, and well, I've been doing the same work ever since, cooking, washing, house cleaning.
And supporting your
And
beloved.
I didn't ever go out to work. I never had a job. I've always been sort of sorry about that. But I've always just had the same life, you know, from the time I used to stand on a kerosene box and wash dishes from the time I was about 6 years of age. And, well, I'm still washing dishes.
Yes.
And I'm 80 years of age now.
You never look it. You'd never know.
A lot of people tell me that. When I went to get my driver's licence renewed, I have to go every 12 months now. Everyone, once they turn 70, have to go every year on their birthday or thereabouts. And the sergeant paid me a compliment. He said, you know, he said, if anybody asked me your age, he said, I'd have said about 65.
Wonderful.
What a lovely compliment.
Yes, lovely. Now, Thank you very much for everything, and hopefully we'll come back and persuade you to talk to us. After a great persuasion and with much reluctance, Irene's agreed to talk to me about her family. She's not happy with doing this, but I feel it's a necessity for her to tell me about her family. When they first come here, what did they have?
Well, our first home was made of bark. We had one saddle horse, a few cows. My eldest brother and I, we had 2 horses. We'd ride to town about once a week and bring out our supplies from the grocer, butcher or whatever.
And how did you carry them on the horse? In pack bags?
In split bags.
In split bags. That was a
bag that fitted over the back of half your saddle, and you sat on that bag.
Right, and you'd fill up the, you'd put a cut in the saddle and fill up the sides of the bag with food.
Even weight on either side.
Right.
And I used to get chafed legs from the
bag.
Yes. Because girls never wore slacks in those days.
No.
And I suppose I would have been 11 or 12.
And how far did you have to ride?
About 10 mile.
In and out?
Yes. And 10 mile in and 10 mile out.
And how old were you then?
I'd have been 11 or 12. I was 10 when we came to the Burnett in 1924.
Right.
And I had an older brother. I'm the eldest of the girls. I had an older brother. I think there were about 7 of us when we came onto the Burnett. Well, I had another 2 sisters after that. I had 2 more children. And, well, we all just stayed here, went to school. The younger ones, of course, had more education than I got, because I left school when I was 12 years of age to help Mum rear the family. Mum didn't have really good health.
And what did they do? What was your family, what was their industry? What sort of work were they doing?
Dad and the older brothers were timbermen. They worked with timber.
What, with horses or bullocks?
Oh, no, cross-cut saws and adzes and
right, yes.
boards and wedges and those sorts.
So they cut the timber up?
Yes,
right.
Dad fenced the whole property.
And what were the timber used for?
Oh, for a yard fence, or for fencing in the property.
This is for themselves?
Building a house, for ourselves, oh yes, for ourselves, yeah.
And did they do it for other people as well?
Dad may have done a bit of fencing, I can't just remember that. But,
yes. So they were timber...
Mainly for ourselves.
Yes.
And then we went into a bit of dairying.
That would have been milking by hand too, wouldn't it?
Milking by hand, yes.
What about your schooling? Now, where did you...
I went for a little while in Rockhampton.
Is that where you came from, to here?
Well, we came from a station out at Belcumba Station, 25 miles out from Duringa.
Right. We
came to Rockhampton from there, and then from Rockhampton to Grulba. Mum's dad was still alive, old Grandad Hawkins. We stayed there for a while, and then this land up here in the Burnett was opened for settlement. And Dad put in and drew for a block. Cost only £5 those days.
Yes, it did, didn't it?
Yes. And we came onto the Burnett here in 1924. Well, I'm still here, and that's why I'd be so pleased to have a break to go, you know.
So you've been on the land all your life?
All those years.
All your life, actually?
Yes.
And now you're just telling me that you're 80-year-old,
yes,
and you've spent all your life on the land?
Yes, Beryl, and we've had a few shifts, but just a few miles away, you know.
Yeah, around it, within this vicinity?
Yes, that's right, just within this little area.
Yes, see. And tell me now, when you met Charlie, was he still involved with buying horses and that?
Yes, he would have been. There's nearly 8 years of an age difference. I'm nearly 8 years younger than Charlie.
Hmm.
And yes, he would have been buying horses for India at that time.
And did you ever have to manage on your own?
Oh yes, I've had to milk cows, look after the family, rug his horses and feed them. Race horses and that, you know. Charlie would away for a few days buying horses. and I'd have to carry on while he was away. Sometimes his mother stayed with me, but lots of times I was all on my own.
On your own.
I'd get up very early, just at daylight, and bring in the cows. Because at this time there'd only be about a dozen cows to milk. But we had big dairies. I think the most cows we milked on one dairy was 120. But then
You would have had machines then, though.
Oh yes, definitely then.
Yeah.
But at one stage, Charlie and I and a brother-in-law of mine, we milked 90 cows by hand. When we bought the Tom Horn property, we milked. He had cattle. He had milking cows, and we had a dairy going too then. So, you know, all the cows were brought up to where we lived, and we milked 93 or something like that by hand.
By hand, 3 of you. Go.
Your hands would be like this in the morning. You'd have to exercise them to be able to milk.
And did you do it twice a day?
Not all the 90 odd, some of them, yes, all the fresher ones we milked.
Twice a day.
And some were strippers, we milked them.
And that was before you had the machines in, the milking machines?
Yes. That would be sure.
What a chore for you to do it. And where did your children go to school?
Surrounded.
Yes. And how far away would that have been away from you?
Mile and a quarter.
Did they walk it or did they ride?
Well, I think the younger one, Tom, might have had a bike, but mainly they walked. The girls did anyway.
Walked there.
Yeah.
In those times the kids could walk and be safe, couldn't they?
That's right. Oh yes, you didn't worry about that.
Yeah, but you couldn't do that today.
No, and I took my share with boarding a school teacher.
Did you? Yes, that's right. In the olden times you had to accommodate the school teacher if you wanted one, didn't you?
Right, yes.
In the early times you had to do that.
And, you know, most of them were very nice.
Did you have to, when you were living in this slab hut, and that, what about the bread? You would have made your own bread and all that
Oh
then?
yes, Mum was a great camp oven cook.
Was she?
And of course when we came onto the Burnett here we had a stove. We bought a stove.
Mm.
I don't know how we acquired it right now, but I know we did have a stove. Dad had a recess built out from the house.
They called them a galley, didn't they?
A galley, yes.
That's right.
That's right, a galley, yes.
Yes, out there in the thing they used
I
to
can
do.
remember Mum cooking on a pole put across 2 fork sticks like that with wires and hooks hanging down.
Yes.
Where she hooked the stew pot and the vegetable billies and the tea billy and all that.
Or hook it on the wire.
wires.
Yeah. Do you know, I've been to a couple of places recently where those galleys are still in existence with the old wires still hanging on them and the rust and everything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even on one of them they had an old homemade sort of a big, like a toaster thing, but they said to me they used to put their steak on that and hold it out, like, you know how you have to have these big old wired toasters,
Yeah,
but this was a big one and had the wire plaited across the middle, and it used to put their steak out on it and cook their steak on it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, the only thing I'm taking from here in the line of that old, those old knives and forks, is a toasting fork. It's about this big with prongs. We used to toast bread on the coals, over the coals.
Yes, over the open fire.
Yes.
Yes. I can remember doing that as a kid too, it was really, but they were hard times. What about the winters then? You'd have found it very hard in the winter.
Well, yes.
Because the children in those days didn't have summer and winter clothes, did they?
No, and not always shoes on our feet.
No, that's right.
And Mum used to make what we called woggers. So 3 corn bags together, leave them as is,
Yes.
So one there, one here, and overstitch them like this, like that. And then Mum they'd be nice clean corn bags, of course.
Yes.
The new ones, And then Mum would cover them with cretonne. And I'll tell you what, they're warmer than 2 blankets.
Truly, and these were for you, for the beds?
For our beds, yes, that was our covering.
Yes. And I can remember that those times, and a lot of the beds were made out of those corn bags too. You went and got a couple of saplings and cut a hole in each corner and shot the
Put the
sapling through, and then you used the corn bag for a bed.
Yes.
You I mean, everything was used. Nothing was wasted.
Everything was used, yes.
Nothing was wasted in those times, was
If
it?
we had a floor in our hut, well, it would be slabs.
Mm.
Dad would cut slabs and smooth them so we didn't get splinters in our feet.
Some of the people used to pack those bags with blady grass.
Well, we used to, the corn husks,
Yes.
we used to shred those, just even pieces,
Yes.
That's so, tubs of them,
And you used those in
and fill them in put them in mattress cases.
Yes.
The only thing, they rattled. Every time you turned, they'd
But you'd get used to that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
they were quite good.
And what did you use for pillows?
I think we had kapok pillows.
Yes,
I do think
that good old kapok.
Yes, I think we had kapok pillows.
And that was all the go at that time, wasn't it?
You see, we didn't have, though, way back in those years, well, we stayed in the one place here, but when Dad was on different places cutting timber and that, we'd only have, out on station, you see, we'd only be here, say the 5 mile, the 10 mile. We had no permanent home.
No.
We had a permanent home back at the station, yes, but we had to live in tents with dirt floor.
And did you cart all your tent gear and your bedding with you, or did you?
Yes, we had a dray and 3 horses. I still remember their names.
Yes.
Bordy, Barney and Plum. Bordy was the shafter, Barney and Plum were the 2 out in the lead.
True, yeah. And you used to pack everything into your dray.
Yes, and of course we kids, we wouldn't sit on the dray, that was too slow. We'd get a stick horse and we'd run behind, or we'd run out and gather jam fruit and little brown berries or little bushes, you know, little wild.
Yeah.
They were sweet, we loved those.
Yeah. Cec's parents were telling me, and his family were telling me, that when they used to do that, something similar to you, and they said, and we always had to carry a stick, the kids would say, they'd be walking, but he said, we always had to carry a stick, and then Dad would yell out, put the brake on, and you'd run and put your stick in the wheel.
Yeah.
Did you do that too?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And these are all the things that one never thinks
Came on
of.
the back of the dray too. We thought it was fun there.
Yes,
We
yes.
kids knew no other life.
And we used to have, I can remember with the slide. You know, most families had a slide to cart their water.
Yeah, oh
or,
yes, we had a slide, yeah.
And the fun, we used to just go and harness old Bally up, just to put him in the slide to have fun on it. You know, the water can would be on it, but you'd have your little space at the back where you could put your feet sideways on and hang on.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the cart the water, you know, and we used to enjoy doing that.
Well, when Thelma and I was about 17, I suppose, and Thelma was 2 years younger, Mrs. Eddie Doyle, you know.
Yes, I know her, yes.
And up here at Belvedere, well on Rosemount, that was my people's place just opposite. But Rosemount there and Belvedere there sort of thing. Well, before I was married, Phil and I, we had lots of droughts back in those years.
That's right, yeah.
And Phil and I would get the big wash tub, a huge big wash tub, and we'd pack everything into that, all the washing from the whole week from, what, about 11 of us. It'd be a lot of washing, it would be heaped up like so. And we'd catch a handle each of the big tub, and we'd have to be carrying something else in, pegs and soap and our lunch and all that in a kerosene tin. In this sense, we'd have the wash tub and a kerosene tin in this other
hand.
And we'd change hands on the way down when we'd get tired of, you know, being in that position. And we would go down onto the springs, and Dad had built a line there, permanent, it stayed there, because different women had to do the same as we, they'd take their washing to the springs to do it, and we'd all use the same
line
and fire setup, you know, put our kerosene tins of clothes on to boil. And you know, that was hard work, but we enjoyed it.
Yes.
We looked forward, and there was tins and tins and tins of clothes to wash and boil, you know.
Yeah.
And
you'd go for the day, more or less.
go for the day, go in the morning and come home. We'd walk, you know,
How far?
about 1.5 miles each way,
Yes.
across the paddock.
Yeah.
But that was really good.
You know, and I mean, you took pleasure in doing that, whereas today, everything's a chore for the younger people today. They don't get any pleasure out of work or things they do.
No, they grab because they have to wash with a washing machine today.
That's right.
Heavens above. You know, it was a whole day for us, and the clothes were dirty because, you know, we had...
The hard
There
work.
was dairying before I was married. I didn't milk cows, I was in the house and had to do all the cooking and all that sort of work. And I think one of my younger brothers and Thelma, they did the dairying mainly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was all handwork, you know.
And even then, after you married Charlie, being still on the land, you started your family and you still had this same lifestyle, didn't you?
Yes, I remember they were milking. Charlie had a couple of lads there and I had to look after them too. I got married and they were milking a few cows, dairying in a small way then. Well, it wasn't long. I didn't dairy at all at home because I had to look after the family, you know. But anyway, Charlie didn't want me to go to the yard and I insisted on going. And then after that, once you do something like that once,
You're hooked, yeah.
You're hooked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're expected to do it.
From 1933 to 1950.
Right. And at that time there wasn't a lot of money in dairying, was there?
No, at one time there, when the cows were going out, I think there was 9 cows still worth milking. And I think I used to milk them on my own and turn the separator like this.
That's right, with all hand done, yeah.
Yes. And Beryl, I think the cream check was £9 for them.
Not worth it, not worth it. And today it is worth a fair bit of money to have a dairy herd today.
Oh yes, they've got
good money.
Like lots of property just for big dairies.
Yes, that's right. There's good money in it now today. And you didn't have any high school education either, did you?
Oh no, Beryl. I think I was lucky if I had 2.5 years.
And that was, and even then, in that time, you were lucky to get that because a lot of the people in those times had none at all.
Well, no,
because of the isolation.
School, you know.
Yeah,
My other brother Claude, we had an auntie and uncle in Maryborough. Claude got a little bit more schooling than I did. They sent him to Maryborough. He stayed with auntie and uncle, you know, in Maryborough, and he got a little bit of schooling, but not much.
No.
Thelma didn't get much either, but the younger ones then, they got a little bit more because we had, they were close to a school then, and but my growing up years, we were stuck way out in the bush, Claude and I and Thelma.
Yes, it was very difficult. But your children now, they've had a good education.
Well, Beryl, they only went to one teacher school here.
Did they?
But they all did well. They all had jobs, and
they've all done well.
They've all done all right. Yeah,
yeah, that's great.
So, as Charlie just said, if it's in the middle, come out of it.
Yes,
well,
seems to be. Yes.
They've worked after they turned 14, after they left school,
yes.
And they did all right.
And now you're looking forward to your retirement in Harvey Bay.
Beryl, can the woman of the house ever retire?
No, but it's going to be a different lifestyle for you.
Different lifestyle, yes.
Yes, yes, and hopefully it'll offer you something that you'll be looking forward to, the difference in it, than the land.
I have so many of my family there, so many sisters, brothers, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and I have lovely neighbours. So, yes, I think I'll be very happy there, but I am a bit worried about how Charlie's going to take it all.
Yes, yes. But anyhow, we wish you well, and I know you've done this under protest, but I think it's well worthwhile, and thank you very much for contributing.
Thank you, Beryl, thank you very much.
And thank you for the lunch and the morning tea, and we'll remember you.
It'll be lovely having you here, Beryl.
Yes, and I'll get your photos. And I'll get your photos back to you as soon as I'm finished with them. But don't nick off to Harvey Bay before I do that. Thanks again.
When you come to Harvey Bay, come and see us, won't you?
I hope to, yes. Thank you for the lunch and the morning tea, and we'll remember you.
It'll be lovely having you here, Beryl.
Yes, and I'll get your photos. And I'll get your photos back to you as soon as I'm finished with them. But don't nick off to Harvey Bay before I do that. Thanks again.
When you come to Harvey Bay, come and see us, won't you?
I hope to, yes.